Okay, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions for Mike Tomlin here.
Hey, Mike.
Coach,
I wanted to ask.
Coach, what do you think of the opportunity to play in front of fans for the first time this weekend, even though it'll be a limited?
You know, we respect and appreciate the opportunity to play in front of our fans in our home venue. It's something that we haven't experienced this year. So even in a limited capacity, man, we're honored to do so and excited about having an opportunity to entertain them.
Mike, I wanted to ask you about the Eagles' pass rush. They have 13 sacks in the last 2 games. Their interior rush and the problems it could pose potentially for Ben coming up the middle. Can you talk about that a little bit?
You know, they got high-end talent, but they also have quality depth. They got very capable guys, guys like Fletcher Cox and Malik Jackson, and then obviously Javon. Man, just the multitude of talented people that they can bring at you really creates the problem. It allows guys to be fresh and dominate in the latter portions of the game, and that really stood out to me, particularly in Cincinnati, when Fletcher had that big play late in that game, that big sack late in that game. It just speaks to not only the talent, but the depth of that talent.
Mike, you mentioned Javon. You had him for 4 years. I mean, what kind of player did the Eagles get here?
You know, he was a good player for us, a good teammate, a guy that was always highly productive and versatile. He played nose for us, but he also played defensive tackle in some of our interior rush things. And particularly last year when we lost Stephon Tuitt, I thought his contributions in that area were significant.
Mike, you're part of a national coalition trying to get more minority coaches hired into the NFL and along the ranks in the football. How has that coalition done so far in your estimation?
You know, we're in the developmental stages, and specifically my involvement is in the development of membership, meaning I'm focused on the vocation of coaching. You know, I intend to be involved in workshops and things of that nature. So from that standpoint, the things that I'm directly being involved with is still in the developmental phases, and the actual things that we're going to get done are going to be more in the spring and in the off season.
Cool. And also, could you share experiences? I don't know. Did you ever interview for the defensive coordinator job prior to getting the Vikings defensive coordinator job? And if so, if you were ever turned down, and what was your mind?
I'm sorry, I had a tough time hearing your question.
No problem. I said before you got the defensive coordinator job with the Vikings, did you ever interview for a position like that? And if so, what was it like? What was the interview process like? And were you ever turned down? And if you were turned down, what was going through your mind when it happened?
Man, I've been on this job 14 years, man. I don't remember some of those details you discussed. You know, I went through a process like anyone else, man. I had some opportunities. Some were good and some didn't pan out. That's life, man. You guys got any questions pertaining to this game this week?
Hey, Mike, how will this weekend off affect your team, do you think?
You know, we're going to discover that. You know, we're still very much in development like everyone else. This time of year, you'd like to continually be working every 7 days or so, but that was outside of our control. Hopefully, we can just continue with this development, and there won't be a lot of rust in our play.
Mike, what did you see?
Hey, Mike.
On Sunday night?
David Melandra.
I'm sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
What did you see from Carson against the 49ers on Sunday night, especially as a runner?
You know, their thoughtful use of design quarterback runs, particularly in the red zone, is troublesome. His mobility is a factor, and their willingness to utilize it makes them particularly tough, particularly in those situational moments like in the red zone.
Hey, Mike, can I ask you about Wendell Smallwood? Can I ask you about Wendell Smallwood? He's on your practice squad, just kind of what he's giving you guys. He's local for us, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, he's a good guy and hard worker. You know, we acquired him late in the off-season process and without preseason games, there just wasn't a lot of opportunity to evaluate him or for him to show what he's capable of. So he's here working every day, and hopefully is going to get an opportunity at some point.
Hey, Mike, and then if I could follow up with your running game in general, I mean, you guys have been really successful with Connor and Snell. What does it mean to have like two guys you can rely on like that?
You know, balance helps us, and particularly at the running back position, having guys with different skill sets to balance your group out. We've been working hard to develop McFarland as well as a young runner who has some different attributes, even than the two you mentioned. So for us, it's about, you know, having a diverse attack, and that diverse attack requires us to utilize multiple people usually.
Hey, Mike, Miles Sanders is a Pittsburgh guy. Had a lot of fans coming out. When did you first become aware of him, and what were your impressions of him as a draft prospect?
You know, I watched him in the Western PA Championships at Heinz Field when he was in ninth grade, run for over 100 yards in a football game, and just to watch a ninth grader excel to the degree that he did in that football game, I remembered his name that day because I knew that wouldn't be the last that I heard of that guy. And so I'm not surprised with his maturation and the things that he's been able to do in his career, and just really, you know, impressed by that, and kudos to him.
Guys, we have time for one more before practice.
Mike, Jordan Mailata, are you familiar with Jordan Mailata coming out in the draft 2 years ago, and what did you see from him against the 49ers?
I was not overly familiar. No, I'm sorry.
One more. What did you see from him?
Hey, Mike, can you talk about being able to play in front of fans this weekend?
I did already, what?
Okay, thank you, guys.